G, what's happening, buddy?
What's going on, Trey?
We are back at it, dude. What has it been?
Can't wait.
2016.
Can't wait. 2016. It's been too long.
2016 was the
6
last
years.
time we recorded a Gridiron Grind. We used to be, if you don't know, used to be on the radio, and then 2016 was our last year. Now we were just talking and said, hey, you want to do a podcast, Gridiron Grind, bring it back, and now we're reborn.
We're back. We're back. Feels good.
Feels good. A lot to talk about. Lots happened in 6 years. We won't do that, but I'm pretty pumped for football season.
Yeah, me too. It's always my favorite time of year. They try to make it in Texas, especially. It is year round, but when you get to college and the pros, if you really get into your teams, it really is almost year round. You have the season, and then you have the off season, you have the drama, you have the draft, then you have free agency hits, and you have training camp. And the next thing you know is here we are.
Speaking of drama, I'm so ready for the offseason to be over. Speaking of the drama, had some pretty big drama this offseason. You had, I call it the Real Housewives of the SEC or Real Housewives of college football. Jimbo and Saban, that provided a little. What'd you think about that whole ordeal, going back and forth about the recruiting deal?
Man, I thought it was a little unnecessary. I think it goes to show you just how new this NIL stuff is, and it still feels dirty because you had Saban's comment. Well, he's down there buying players, and I said it from the beginning. I said, it's kind of a dumb argument, but if I was Jimbo, I would have used that as my opportunity to jump and take a jab at Texas and Alabama. He had the perfect opportunity to say something along the lines of sorry that, our alumni can actually pay for something, we're the only school in the state, whatever kind of erroneous comment he wants to make. But but no, instead he fought back with, well, you did illegal stuff too, and we didn't do nothing, and I don't know nothing about no NIL.
I'm so shocked about those two old guys. I mean, it reminded me of my wife watches those Real Housewives shows. It reminded me of Real Housewives.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it either because I'm like, Nick, you made the comment because you're frustrated because, yeah, some of those kids you would have normally gotten, but they went to A&M because of the NIL deals, and that is what it is. It's legal. Jimbo, you had the upper hand. You had the advantage, but you chose to serve the ball back over the net. I'm just like, it wasn't warranted.
And with NIL, you don't know. It is like the wild, wild west out there. So much stuff is going on behind the scenes that head coaches don't even know about because it's just the wild, wild west. Any booster can come up with a nonprofit organization and pay people money to do, to read to kids, and then they're going to pay them, $1 million as long as they do one thing. It meets the NCAA deals. So Nick Saban, to say all that, you don't know what's going on, and it's like there's an old saying: "Don't break the law when you're breaking the law." I wouldn't be calling out A&M for spending a bunch of money on NIL stuff to get recruits if you're probably doing it too.
Yeah, we're just a couple years away. Remember Pat White, West Virginia quarterback? He threw Saban under the bus for getting him a car. Now, it probably wasn't Nick Saban himself, but he said Alabama, when Saban was there, got me a car. And then Pat White put a picture of him kind of cross-armed on the car. And you remember that caught a little traction, and Nick Saban goes, we didn't do that. And then they were like, yeah, Nick Saban didn't do that. Whatever, Pat White. And it was like, it's been going on for years. It's been going on since our folks were in high school and probably before that. And it'll keep going on. But now with NIL, it makes it legal to where, hey, there's no point in hiding it, man. Like you said, make a false company or have your own company and pay them,
That's the new thing. I'll just make all these people make boosters make nonprofits, and giving people all this kind of money, and they go read in elementary school once, and
there it is,
$1 million. So it's above board.
Perfect. And it is what it is, and it's
wild. Speaking of NIL, All right, let's say, big Arkansas fan you are. Let's say you're, third year starter there in Fayetteville. NIL opportunity. What would be your dream NIL? Obviously, they can't do alcohol. I mean, because
Right.
like I would be Shinerbach all day, but can't do alcohol. So, and you can't. I guess you can't do gambling, alcohol. Obviously, can't do like I guess tobacco and any kind of
Probably firearms. The
yeah,
standard, the
whatever
common
standard
sense
stuff.
stuff.
So, what would be your
Me,
dream NIL? You're starting quarterback in Arkansas. What's your deal?
probably a vehicle.
A
Probably a
vehicle.
vehicle.
Yeah,
Maybe um probably a dealership. I want a dealership, man, because like your boy, Bijan's got
Bijan with the
Lambo.
Lambo.
Shadur Sanders has Porsche. I'd want you wouldn't even have to give me that, man. Just give me a Ford F-150. I'd want like Fayetteville Ford or whoever is up there. I just be like, give me a car, a vehicle to kind of cruise around
See,
campus and that stuff. Again, all this stuff's been going on for years. There was rumor when the track team was putting out Olympic sprinters up there. You'd see, hey, that H2 hadn't come out yet. Oh, but that guy's going to the Olympics. So yeah, he's in one. And it was like, yeah, so it's happened. That's what I mean. And that right there, that man, look at that guy in that H2 with the rims and it's sweet. Yeah, I'd want probably a car deal.
see, you think this is the difference in our personality. You're sitting there thinking the car, which perfect, but I am who I am. First thing that came to my mind, did I need like a deal with Whataburger, or give me like a pizza joint, or give me something
Yeah,
that's like, imagine if I
I
was in
like
college,
it.
I would have made it. I would have been the size I am now in college, and it would have been a bad deal. But I mean, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Like, I would have just been begging Whataburger to give me
I
an NIL deal.
Yeah, that would have been a good one too, and then like yeah, and you kind of look towards the professional athletes, cell phone,
Yeah.
like the athletes with cell phone, cars, restaurants, Yeah, for me, if I'm a kid, a college age kid, I'm going vehicle, just something cool,
Yeah,
you know.
I'd probably want a truck, but like a Lambo. That would have been.
Yeah, see, like that'd be sweet. Give me the Rep Bomar Adrian Peterson special
That's probably one
and
of the coolest
sign me up.
ones I'd say. He's got the Bijan Robinson, got the Lamborghini.
Yeah,
That's one of the coolest ones. Speaking of that, he just came out with one the other day. He's got the Dijon mustard. He came out with his own brand of Dijon mustard. They
Bijan
call it,
mustard,
yeah, Bijan mustard
love
seed.
it,
Selling
love
it, I
it.
think at HEB's down in Austin. That's that's a good
That's
one. He's
pretty
really
good.
quiet.
Yeah, car. I'm going car. You're going food. Okay.
Yeah. So other storylines this offseason: USC, UCLA going to the Big Ten. I mean, basically, I mean, college football is changing. I don't know if anybody knows. I don't know. What does it look like in 5 years? I mean, what are we
No,
going to be? Obviously, SEC, Big Ten are going to be the two, footholds everybody's trying to get to. But like, what happens to the Pac-12? Well, I mean, what does college football look like in 5 years?
I have no idea, man. And that's 5 years ago. You couldn't have told. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
think going from the old school to the BCS. That was wild. And then you're in the middle of the BCS. You're going, oh, playoff, nah, it could happen. Then they do a playoff, and you're just like, I don't know how this is going to work. Now we've got it, and college football just constantly evolving. And I don't know, to answer your
See,
question. I don't
five
know.
years
You
ago,
could think of the craziest thing, and
yeah,
that may well very happen.
5 years
Very
ago,
well happen.
I would have bet a lot of money to say college football is going to end up looking like the NFL, except instead of 32 teams, it's going to be about 65, 70 teams. Power Five, Notre Dame, and they're all going to collective bargain together and get TV deal together, and it's going to be evenly distributed between 65, 70 teams, however many teams it is, and that's what I thought was going to happen, and that's what I would have predicted. Actually, the last paper I wrote in law school from our sports law class, we had to write a 10-page paper. We got to pick the topic, and it's the topic I picked, and I said college football and TV. I said that's what it's going to do, and it's going to be like the NFL, but it's going to be that many teams, and they're all going to get even money, and it's going to be like divisions, and it'll probably end up getting rid of conferences. But I don't think that's happening at all. I think it's going to be the haves, the have-nots, what's in the structure we have now, and then the group of five. And I think it's going to be the Big Ten and the SEC are going to be the two
They
main
struck first.
states, and I think people like now all these other Pac-12 schools, you hear reports they're trying to get into the Big Ten
Hmm.
because the Big Ten, what was it, a $7 billion media
Yeah,
deal they just got from Fox, CBS, and NBC.
I mean, like you said, the SEC and the Big Ten struck first. The SEC really knocked it out of the park with adding
Yeah, so now
Texas
they
and
got
Oklahoma. And then, the Big Ten, to quote what I said earlier, they batted the ball back over the net, went and got USC, UCLA, got the West Coast market,
reports of
and
Stanford, Cal, Oregon, Washington.
yeah,
We'll see what happens.
and
Obviously, Notre Dame's the crown jewel that everybody wants.
yeah,
See what
and
happens there.
everybody wants Notre and has wanted Notre Dame for years, and
Do you
I
think
think
they
they're
have
kind of
to join a conference now?
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
100%. I think they do. I think it's getting to where, and you've seen it over to me, the last couple of years, where used to be, oh well, Notre Dame, we've got NBC, the Notre Dame Broadcasting Channel, and we're on national TV. Well, now everyone's on national TV, right?
Yeah.
And it forced Notre Dame to join a conference and everything but football, right? So they're in the ACC, everything but football. So if they do join, they have to join the ACC or they have to pay a buyout, which Notre Dame could afford, and it's not even going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Uh, I think the ACC hopes that they will join because that will, because they have Clemson and everybody else, and Clemson's desirable. No one else really is.
Well,
There's a lot of tradition in the ACC, but
yeah.
it's what have you done for me lately? That's what everybody's looking, and
Clemson.
it's Clemson and everybody
I
else.
think Clemson wants to join the SEC, but they can't because their
Mm-hmm.
deal with the ACC doesn't end until 2036.
See, so Clemson already wants out. So if I'm the
All the
ACC,
ACC. I mean, I hear people, I hear things,
sure.
but I don't know. Obviously, they're not going to come out and say that because they're under contract with their group of
Mm-hmm.
rights till 2036. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. As a longtime SEC guy, as yourself, Arkansas fan, are you going to be? Is it going to be weird to hear that CBS song they put out on Twitter? CBS, like that same song.
Yeah,
When I hear that, I think 2:30 Saturday afternoon SEC game of the week.
right.
But they did it with Big Ten. I mean, is that going to be a little nostalgia
It'll
to miss
take
out on
some
the
getting.
CBS?
Yeah, it'll take some getting used to,
Yeah,
but I think we'll be okay.
yeah. I mean, you just get used. It's going to be all ESPN, ABC now. So, well, all right. I think that's about it for summer. Let's season's right around the corner. We actually got some games this weekend. Uh, but the big ones, Nebraska, Northwestern, and Dublin, Ireland. Game day is actually going to be on. I'm going to tune into that one. But other than that, it's just kind of fan of football. I'm be glad to have some football on the TV. That's for sure. Uh, so I don't know. I wouldn't mind watching because I'm crazy like this. I'm going to watch UTEP in North Texas late at night. Vanderbilt in Hawaii kick off about 11 o'clock our time. But
Yeah, I'm definitely be
I'd
watching.
rather watch that than anything else.
I'm going to have some interest in Vanderbilt, Hawaii,
Yeah.
Nebraska, Northwestern. I think we'll get into it a little bit. I'm excited to see because I want to see. I love the storylines, as we talked about going into the season, one of them is Scott Frost. He goes down there and has the season he does at UCF, claims a false national championship, really puts that school on the map, goes back home to Nebraska where he played QB, and it has been awful. It has been dumpster juice since he got there, and now he's on the hot seat. He's basically got to go undefeated to keep his job, which
Huh.
they don't have the squad to do it.
No.
And so that one versus Northwestern, because Northwestern at home, they play tough. They're Northwestern's one of those teams when they're bad, you kind of, oh yeah, Northwestern probably won 5, 6 games. You're like, oh man, no, they didn't, because
They were terrible
they're
last year.
scrappy,
Yeah.
and they're always scrappy.
Well,
That's
the
just
year
how they
before,
play.
yeah,
So
the year before they played in the Big Ten championship,
yeah,
and then last year, I mean, they were bad, bad,
just awful.
bad.
And so that
Nebraska,
one I'm really excited to
me
watch.
too. Nebraska betters last year it was a roller coaster. I mean, they found more ways. What did they end up being, like 3-9 or 4-8? They were the best 3-9 or 3 or 4 win team ever because I mean they just found new ways to lose games, but they could cover though.
Yeah,
Nebraska was a roller coaster last year. So we got we'll go around the Power Five here, do some conference picks. We'll start with the SEC. Obviously, you got the two dogs, Alabama, Georgia. Alabama, some are saying, got a chance to be better than that 2009 LSU team. The last 10 years could be the best team in the last 10 years. Do you see anybody winning the SEC not named Alabama or Georgia?
No,
I mean, it's hard to even make a
no,
case.
I don't think. I mean, stuff's got to go
Georgia, I don't think
wrong.
has no competition in the East as far as getting to the game. I mean, somebody might get them once, but
Hmm.
who's gonna unseat them in the
Who's the
East?
second team? Right.
I don't think so. I think Georgia is almost a lock to be in the SEC championship in the East.
They're going to have to set fire to the cities of Tuscaloosa and Athens before either of those two teams are not playing in the SEC championship game. I mean, the West is harder. It
Yeah,
has been since the than the East, but I mean, because they could slip up. Look, last year, A&M, we beat A&M, and then they turn around and they lose to Mississippi State. Then they beat Alabama, and I'm just like, so you just never know. You never know. I don't think anyone upsets either of those two teams to
so who
get
you
them
got?
out of the SEC championship. Alabama, you
I
got
agree
Bryce
with you.
Young coming back.
Yeah,
You still got Nick Saban. Um, Georgia lost a lot in the transfer portal,
yeah.
and those magical seasons. Ask Ed Orgeron; those are hard to repeat.
I mean, they're still going to be
So
pretty good. They're
yeah,
reloading on defense and
and
offense. They got Stetson Bennett
who
last year.
doesn't? He's not going to wow you, but he's not a
Yeah,
wow guy. You know what he's
they
going
got
to
these.
do? He's going to make the right read, and he's not going to turn the
Exactly.
football over. And it's tough to beat a team when
The
the
plays
quarterback makes the right
and
decision all
the
the time.
plays the defense that they play. Stetson
Yeah,
Bennett's just gonna be like he's the ultimate game manager. They got all those tight ends, but I still think Alabama's got Will Anderson, Dallas Turner. I mean, those guys are just relentless. Probably both going to be first round. Will Anderson might be the first overall pick. I think Alabama's best team in the country this year. So
yeah. I'd hate to have
agree
to
with you.
play them, especially early in the morning.
Yeah. Yep. So week 2, 11
Oh,
a.m.
oh yeah.
It's going to be. I'll be there, and it's going to be hot, and it could be a miserable viewing experience for myself. But we'll see. We'll see. Okay, Big Ten. Big Ten. Michigan won it last year, beat Ohio State. The other side's a crapshoot. There's no telling who could come out between Nebraska, Minnesota, Iowa, uh, any of those guys. Who do you got winning the Big Ten? For me, I mean, I think Ohio State is at least 2 touchdowns better than everybody in the Big Ten.
I agree. Ohio State, and I don't think it's close. I think you had Harbaugh's magical year where everything worked
Yeah,
right, and I think it's they're not the same team, but I compare it to Ed Orgeron and LSU, just this magical team. Of course, LSU did something with it, but like that's it. Now it's going to go back to the old. He's just Harbaugh again and can't win the big game. And I would not be surprised if Jim Harbaugh is looking at the help wanted ads come this time next year.
really. You think
Yeah.
he's gonna fall back
I
that far?
think, yeah, I don't think they're,
What'll happen? He'll go to the NFL if he sees the writing on the wall. He'll
yeah,
take because NFL
he'll,
teams are interested.
yeah, he'll go get a coordinator job or
Yeah.
something in the NFL.
All right, Big 12. Big 12. You had Oklahoma State, Baylor. What a title game. Uh, I mean, I've said this for so many years. Competitive wise, of the teams in the conference, the Big 12, in my opinion, is the most competitive conference with each other. Whereas, I mean, Alabama, Georgia, SEC, and the SEC is a better conference top to bottom. They got better teams. But what I'm saying is, Big 12, there's not that gap of separation between teams. In my opinion, you have 6 teams that I think you could make a case could win the conference championship. I mean, I think you could throw 6 teams in a blender and one of them could come out. And that's what I think it's the most competitive. It had the most one-score games of any conference last year. So Baylor's your conference champ, but they lose a lot. They're changing quarterbacks. They lose their back into their secondary, but they do get their O line and D line back. Oklahoma State, same thing. They get a 4-year starter, Spencer Sanders, back, but they lose running back, receiver. They lose almost their whole defense. I mean, you could go up and down on the list. It's like you can make a case why they're going to be better, and a case why they're going to be worse with those top 6 teams. So, who do you think wins the Big 12?
I'm going to go with Baylor. I really wanted to pick Oklahoma State. I think they're just replacing too much and replacing their defensive coordinator, who they bring in Derek Mason, who is a
Yeah.
defensive guy, but I just think I think that's too much to replace on defense for the Pokes. So I like Baylor. I think Aranda's got something special down there, and like I said, I really want to go Oklahoma State, but I just think there's just
See,
too much to replace.
I'm going Oklahoma State.
Oh,
I think even though he's been terrible, and I mean terrible as in he cost his team the
bad,
conference championship last year against
bad.
Mr. Sanders, but you get a 4-year starting quarterback that means something, and I think you got that. You're ahead of the game. You got some O linemen. You do have like two defensive linemen back that were impact players. The defense worries me because you're replacing those linemen. Malcolm Rodriguez was a stud, the safety that they got to replace. I mean, they're replacing all, but they got 4 and 5 year guys to replace them with. Derek Mason's a good DC. I think Mike Gundy, Oklahoma State, that's my pick to win the Big 12. Baylor does have the best O line and D line in the conference, so anytime you got that, it's gonna be tough. But I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, those top six, you could probably pick any of the six, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a rematch, Oklahoma State and Baylor, and I got the Pokes winning. You got the Bears. So ACC, does Clemson this year? I know you're not a fan of Clemson. Do they get back to the top of the
Oh
ACC?
yeah,
Or
I think it's Clemson and everybody else. Like I said, I think Miami is going to be an interesting team to
yeah,
watch.
mm-hmm.
Florida State's going to be interesting to watch this year. They've got to have some
They
stuff
got to
kind
be
of
better. They got to
fall their
be.
way, go in their favor. They got to be better, right? But Miami's going to be interesting. But I still think, in North Carolina, everybody kind of high on Mac in North Carolina, but I still think they're
Yeah,
all
they
chasing
underachieved.
Clemson. And Clemson's line, I think the defensive line at Clemson's good. And if DJ, I call him ukulele because that's just hard to pronounce. If DJ ukulele, he's going to have to be a completely different player than he was
He was
last year.
bad, and especially bad in the red zone. Like he was
Yes,
so bad last year.
they, but I think if they can get whatever was wrong with him worked out, I think I still think Clemson wins even with DJ ukulele playing. He's got to be better, right? Like we
Yeah.
say about Florida State, got to be better. So ukulele's got to be better second year, playing. So I think it's Clemson. Everyone's chasing Clemson
See,
still in that conference.
I thought for the longest I was going to pick Clemson, but the last week I've changed it. I'm going to go with Miami. I think Miami's going to beat Clemson. I think I like Mario Cristobal, and I think they got a good quarterback. I think he was just a freshman or maybe a sophomore last year,
Mm-hmm.
but Van Dyke another year under his belt. They got some playmakers. They're really talented, but it's a little bit of unknown because they haven't proven it yet. I agree. Clemson's defensive line is going to carry them, and if the quarterback DJ Ukulele can't get any better, I
Ukulele.
don't have faith that he can. I mean, he was bad last year. So with that, I think I'm a big on got to be the better quarterback wins, and I think Miami's got the better quarterback. They meet up in the championship. I'm going Miami. Last conference, Pac-12. Lincoln Riley, does he make a splash? I don't think so.
No,
No way they win it. People are talking
no,
like
and
they have the
it
second
is
best odds to win the conference in
it is
Vegas.
so frustrating.
I agree. I mean, I think they're
They
going to lose at least three,
what
probably
they
four
win four
games.
games last year. They won 4 games last year. They're number 12 in the nation.
I mean, they got a lot of
Lincoln Riley's
transfers.
good.
They got Lincoln
Lincoln
Riley,
Riley's
they got
good.
Caleb Williams, they got the two receivers.
Yeah,
But their
running back.
defense was horrendous last year, and
They didn't get better on either side of the line. It
no,
is maddening that they're number 12 in the nation. But you know what? That's Lincoln Riley for you,
and
and
they got to
that's
play Notre Dame. They got Utah, Notre Dame.
I mean, there's two losses right there. We could go down the list. I didn't even want to because it's so frustrating to me.
Yeah,
No, USC they're not contending this year. They're going to be better because they won 4 games last year, so they've got to be better, right?
right.
Lincoln Riley's a better coach. The pieces are there for them to start to become better, but for them to be number 12 in the nation and have second best odds to win the conference,
Yeah,
it's crazy to me. I
I'm
think it's Utah. I think Utah
Utah.
wins
Yeah,
the
I'm with you. Pac-12 is Utah, and then everybody else.
yeah.
I think they got all. They don't have everybody coming back, but they got a good. They got the quarterback back. They lose Devin Lloyd, the linebacker leader on defense, but they got him back. They also leave that speedy receiver, but they get two other starting receivers back. They get the running back back. Offense and D line are intact for the most part. I think Utah and then everybody else in the Pac-12, and I wouldn't even be shocked if Utah sneaks their way in to the college football playoff. As let's just segue into that. So we got our conference champs. Who's your 4 teams in the playoff, and who's winning the national championship?
Alabama, Ohio State, and then,
Georgia.
yeah, Georgia
So that's my 3
or
because I can see happening is Alabama losing one in the regular season, just like last year actually.
mhm.
Georgia going undefeated because I don't think anybody gives them a test. Alabama slips up once to somebody, maybe even Arkansas this year because isn't it in Fayetteville? Uh,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
maybe, but anyway, and then Alabama beats Georgia in the conference championship. Alabama, Georgia both get in. Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State are probably the 3 favorite. But who's that 4th team? I'm gonna say Utah, but could it be Notre Dame? After Notre Dame gets the break speed off them by Ohio State week 1, do they win out and get in? I don't know. I
I
can see
don't
it
think
happening.
so. You know who else I could see is I could see it'd have to be impressive. They'd have to be undefeated, but I think the winner of the Big 12, if they put up enough
Yeah,
of a fight, I think they could get in over a Utah. Um, but I think it's Utah or an undefeated Big 12 champion gets the 4th and final
yeah.
spot in
I
the
just have a
playoff.
tough time thinking anybody in the Big 12 is going undefeated, just because, like I said, it's so competitive. There's not a lot of separation between those teams, and I mean, it's so competitive. I think it's hard to go undefeated in the Big 12
That's why if
because there's
they're
no teams
undefeated,
that
I
are
think
elite,
they can.
no elite teams in the Big 12.
Yeah. If Baylor or Oklahoma State, if our 2 picks or whoever goes undefeated and wins the Big 12, I think they snag the 4th spot.
I think if they go
Um,
undefeated, they get in for
I
sure.
think that's it.
Or even if they just lose one, they probably get in. It's hard to go undefeated. So, who's your champ? Who wins it all?
I think it's Alabama, Ohio State in the championship,
Yeah, I agree with that.
and maybe Ohio State.
I mean, you
Maybe
can make a
Ohio
case for
State.
either one. I'm gonna go Alabama, but I think I mean, Ohio State has an easier path, so they won't be as tested or banged up. But on the other side, and Alabama have been there, done that, played a tougher schedule. You know, if they're healthy, you know, last year they just struggled at the receiver spot. If Alabama's healthy, that's my
Yeah,
pick. I'm gonna
Jameson
pick
Williams
Alabama.
getting hurt really hurt them in that game. So
Yeah, and Minchie was
I
already
think
out.
Georgia was the better team, but yeah, it's tough to go. I'm just gonna go with Ohio State. Go with
Yeah, I
Ohio
mean,
State just because they're
imagine
different.
if those 2 teams live up to Alabama, Ohio State live up to it. You got Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. Imagine that title game. If they're both elite, like we're thinking they're going to be elite, you're probably talking about the number 1 and number 2 pick, or at least definitely the number 1 and number 2 quarterbacks in the
Hmm.
draft. I mean, what a game that could
What a game!
potentially
Yeah,
be.
I agree.
I'd love to see it. I'm rooting for it.
I'll
So
take it.
real quick, we'll do Texas, Arkansas. Previous season, better or worse? I mean, mine's gonna be pretty easy
You got
because
to be
Texas is
better.
5-7. How are we not? If we're not better than 5-7 this year, I mean, I,
You're not better than 5-7. Arch may have a different coach calling the plays.
Arch. I'll say this: Arch Manning will not step foot in Austin if we are not better than 5-7 this year. I don't. There's no way. I don't know, but yeah. Arch will either have a different coach or we'll have a different quarterback named Arch, not named Arch, is probably what happens. But I mean, Texas got to be better. Arkansas, though, it's a tough one. 9-4 last year, won the Outback Bowl over Penn State. 4-4 in conference, and when I was shocked, you're only 5th in the West last year.
Hmm.
So I could see maybe the record being the same, but better conference wise. Just 4-4 in conference. I mean, SEC West is it's a bloodbath.
Yeah, it's tough. I think 9 wins with the bowl is. I think we're about the same. I think we might the first time we beat A&M in 10 years last year.
Yeah.
So that's a toss up, and we all know we've all read the christening of the A&M recruiting class. So if they're half as good as they're supposed to be, they're going to be really good. So I don't know if we beat them again. I know we have a lot of experience. We lose Traylon Burks and we lose guys on defense, on the line, and the linebacking core. We bring back Bumper Pool, Mount Rushmore of
All
football
time named
names.
all name team bumper pool.
All name team, first team. Uh, but stuff goes your way.
Yeah.
Again, losing a guy like Burks, but we got Hazelwood
I
from
think
OU,
Hazelwood,
which is
he can. I don't know
giant.
if he can 100% replace him, but he can step in.
It's
I
a
mean,
good.
I'll say it. I think Arkansas gets to 10 wins this year. I think they go 9 and
I'll take
3,
it.
10 with a ball. That's what I'm saying. I
I'll
mean, I
take
think
it.
they finish in the top 3 in the West. They finished 5th in the West last year, but that was because of tie and you
Mhm.
lost last thing to Ole Miss. Um, so I'm gonna say Arkansas finishes top 3 in the West, wins 10 games. I'm
I'll
calling it.
take
I
it.
like
I
because you
love
got
your
both
optimism.
coordinators back and KJ Jefferson's back. I like
Hmm.
it. So, all right, time for the picks. Let's see. I mean, you have any plays this weekend? You like any? Now we got to say this. Used to we are on the radio. We used to not do the spreads. We just did the picks. But now, podcast. We like to divulge, but it is important to know. We're in Texas. It's not legal to place a sports wager in Texas. The closest state that it is legal is Arkansas. If you want to make the drive from where we're from, I think it's about what 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
Yeah. So, so that's important. Make sure you know the laws. Make sure the state you live in, it's legal to place sports wagers. All you have to do is be in that state to do it. So, if you live in Texas, Arkansas is the closest state um, where you can place a wager. I think what 25 or it's upper 20s now allow it. I think Kansas is getting it.
Mhm.
They were trying to get it before the football season, but I don't know if and they have it at casinos, but they're trying to get the online sports. But anyway, make sure you know the laws. Make sure it's legal. Don't we won't want to promote breaking the
Yeah,
law.
we're not going to condone illegal
Can't
activity.
condone illegal activities, but
Condone or promote.
I don't have any plays this week. Like I said, I might, there's some interesting plays. If you were going to sit there and watch football all day, I could see someone doing like a Nebraska teaser with Nebraska, then like a middle game, maybe UTEP, and then night game Vandy or Hawaii. If you were just going to sit there and watch TV, watch football all day, you could dabble in that. But uh, I know we got season win totals. Let's do our 5 best season win totals. You start us off. What's your favorite season win
Man,
total?
I love the Texas State Bobcats at 4.5 wins. I think Texas State, they return a lot, and I think that's an easy. I think the Bobcats may even go bowling
Bobcats.
this year. So I think getting them at 4.5 is fantastic.
It's a good one. I'm gonna go with Kansas State Wildcats over 6.5. They get now. People are gonna be like, well, they get Martinez. He started 38 starts by the way in his career. He's got 38 starts, 64% of his completion percentage. He's thrown for 8,500 yards in his career, 45 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. But he's gonna be running a system that fits him to a T. Colin Klein's he's the offense coordinator now. They're gonna do a lot of QB runs, a lot of high uh, completion percentage passes. Deuce Vaughn's the running back. Kansas State, Chris Kleiman has not won under. Well, he won 4-6 in 2020, but he's been 8-5 the other 2 years he was there. He's going to coach them up. They're going to play hard football. Give me K State over 6.5.
Well, you stole my next one because I was
Well,
going to
easy.
say State also.
So
I
both
like
Kansas
that
State.
for I like that for all the reasons you said. I think we know what Martinez can do with his feet. That's his best attribute. It's definitely not throwing motion or accuracy, but yeah, his athletic ability and Colin Klein, like you said, we all know what he did at K State. We know what he did in college. And phenomenal athlete, and I think he's going to have Martinez. They're going to be people are going to be really surprised at this Martinez
I
compared to the
think it's going to work.
Martinez
I
we've
like Kansas
seen.
State this year. My next one's Mississippi State over 6.5. A little trivia for you. Mike Leach, this is the 4th time he's had a quarterback returning for his 3rd season in a row starting. The other two were at Texas Tech, Kingsbury, Graham Harrell. And the other one was at Washington State, Luke Falk. They won 9 games the 3 previous times he had a 3-year starter coming back. So it's over under 6.5 just for that. Give me the over, Mississippi State over 6.5.
Oklahoma Sooners over under 9.5. Give me the under. Give it to me. as many times as I can place it. I'm about to put a
I'm with you.
fourth, fifth, and sixth mortgage on the home. Oklahoma Sooners under 9.5. Venables, we're about to find out why Venables didn't has never left Clemson D coordinator. And I think he's a fantastic, I think he's probably the best or one of the best, if not the best defensive coordinators in college football. Head coach yet to be seen. But I know offensively, Lincoln Riley, good luck replacing that. 9.5. I think 10 wins is too much for an Oklahoma team that has so much new personnel on and off the field. Give me under 9.5 Oklahoma Sooners all day.
I'm with you. I think OU's under that one. Uh, just new coach, completely new system. I think if you're going to play that one, you got to go under. I agree with you. My next one, the UTEP Miners. Now, if you watch my show I did Coffee with Creta, I'm a big fan of UTSA Roadrunners. I'm gonna be on the Miners train this year. Okay, the UTEP Miners, they're gonna come through. They were 7-6 last year. Their over under is 5.5. They have 15 returning starters back, including their quarterback, Gavin Hardison, who's this will be his third year starting. They all their tough games are at home. Boise State's at home, going to be at home. Uh, they're going to go at UTSA, at Oklahoma, but I don't need them to win those. I just need them to win some home games. The games are win. I'd love for them to get this first one, North Texas, uh, on Saturday. But I'm going to go with the UTEP Miners over 5.5.
I like it. I like it. I'm going to go with another under, and that is Duke Blue Devils under 3.5. You can also say Duke/Hawaii under 3.5. Those are two of the worst, if not two worst teams in college football. Vanderbilt is an 8-point favorite against Hawaii in Hawaii this year. Wait a minute, scratch that. That might be in Vanderbilt. Nope, it's in Hawaii. I was correct.
Oh, that's on Saturday. Yeah,
And
Vanderbilt
they're
at Hawaii.
still an 8-point favorite. Vanderbilt is an 8-point favorite. Give me Hawaii and Duke under 3.5. I know that's two, but either one, swap, pick one, whatever one you can get under 3.5. I mean, we're talking bad,
I'm with you.
bad football.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on Duke. That's one of my five I have down here. Duke, they're going to be a bad football team this year. They bring the DC over from A&M, Mike Elko. He just doesn't have a lot to work with. That defense is really bad. Under the 3.5, I mean, I think they lose to Kansas for sure. And if they don't beat Kansas, there's no way I see them winning two ACC games. So they'd have to beat Kansas, their other two non-conference games, and then win one ACC game to beat you. I'm pretty confident. I like the Jayhawks there. Uh, so yeah, I'm with you. Duke under 3.5, and then my last one is I like Notre Dame over 8.5. I don't know if that's still the number, but Notre Dame. I mean, they're a good football team. They were just in the playoff 2 years ago. I know new coach first year, but they were in the Fiesta Bowl last year. They got Ohio State first, and I think they're going to get beat pretty good there. But then after that, I think their schedule really works out. They got a couple tricky ones with BYU. They also got to play USC, North Carolina, Miami. But in those games I just mentioned outside of Ohio State, I mean, you just need them to go 1-3 in those, or excuse me, 2-2. 1-3 if you add Ohio State, but outside of Ohio State, I mean, they could still lose two, and you still win it. So
I like that over as well. Marcus Freeman, the team really rallied around, really pushed for university to hire him, and they got their guy. And and they could have a special season. They could be a team that we just kind of overlooked, didn't put in our playoff picture. The little bit, obviously, people are going to go not even close. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Larry Coker, Miami. The team really pushed to hire Larry Coker because they knew, hey, we got a good thing going here. He's not going to change a bunch of stuff, and they achieved their goals. So I think Notre Dame over.
they have 15 guys starters back, 8 on
Mm-hmm.
defense. To get the receiver Avery Davis back, they got maybe the best tight end in the country and Michael Mayer. It's all about the quarterback. If they hit on this quarterback, I think this Butcher guy is going to be the starter. If they hit on him, I think they win 10 easy. Definitely, I think they go 9-3. I mean, they're going to get smoked after Ohio State. It's at Ohio State, Columbus opening weekend, Labor Day weekend. I mean, they're just going to get smoked. They can't match up to Ohio State. But then you get Marshall and Cal at home. I think you rebound easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're at North Carolina, and maybe it could be a confidence booster. So and then you get a bye, and then BYU at Las Vegas. That'll be the determining factor. I think if you can get through North Carolina, BYU, preferably 2-0, but if you just get 1-1, can't lose both. Can't lose both.
Mm-hmm.
You get through North Carolina, BYU. I think you're going to look good there. So that's it. I think we'll do a recap real quick. All right, you're 5 again. What's the recap? Who you have? Texas State
Mm-hmm.
over 4.5. Kansas State 6.5 over.
Mm-hmm.
OU under 9.5. Duke
Mm-hmm.
under 3.5. Hawaii under 3.5.
Yeah, and bonus Utah over 8.5.
Yeah, I like that one too. Utah over 8.5 should be. I mean, I think so. I just don't see a lot of. I think, like I said, Utah, everybody else. I'm with you on Kansas State over 6.5 and Duke under 3.5, and then I like Mississippi State. Mike Leach he's a lot better when he has 3-year returning starter quarterback. I like the Miners of UTEP over 5.5 and Notre Dame over 8.5. So there you have it. We're back, better than ever. The reboot of Gridiron Grind.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if how many of those pan out. I mean, you know, we're armchair experts, so I love my picks.
And I love mine.
I love,
I love them.
I love my picks every week, every weekend. Love my picks. Um, the bank account doesn't always love my picks, but I love my picks. So, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Gridiron Grind's back. We're going to be here every week, releasing an episode during football season. Jimmy's, we got anything else? Good to be back with you, buddy.
It
Just
is.
good.
It's good to be back. I'm excited. Love
6
football.
year.
Love sports. So,
Yeah. Excited for football. We'll be back next week. I guess we'll talk. We'll have some plays next week. I mean, we'll talk about the big games. You got, I mean, Arkansas, Cincinnati. Week 1's a sneaky good one. You got Utah at Florida. That's a great game. Oregon, Georgia, and of course Notre Dame, Ohio State. And then I'm sure we'll have plenty of plays week 1. So that'll do it.
Battle of the Axe this Friday.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Sherman Dennison,
Okay.
go Cats. What has it been 9 years in a row, Dennison's?
9 or 10, one of the two. I don't know. It's hard to count.
I think it's the longest streak Dennison's had. Sherman won 12 in a row once.
Hurts my
Okay,
Bearcat
what's your
heart.
prediction? Do the Bearcats, do they win the Axe? Do they get it back? Beat the Yellow Jackets. Friday, Munson Stadium in Denison.
I think this
Year
is
they get
it.
back.
I think we figure it out.
Wish
I
it was
think we get
Sherman, but I kind of think they get it back too.
I don't know why they don't rent the roof out. There's an Albertsons
Yeah.
right next door. If I was that manager, I'd rent that roof out. I've asked before. It's a hard no. And then it's I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. But
Yeah, they probably
a hard no on renting the roof out.
walking on the roof, punching holes in the roof, then they have leaks.
But yeah, I think the Cats do it. I think the Cats figure out a way to get it done.
Maybe we can find somebody to get us a line on that game. I'll take Bearcats money line. I mean, you'd think,
Plus, got to be plus.
Yeah, so I
We'll
take
figure it out.
Bearcats money line. But anyway, anything else this week?
Nope, that's it.
All right.
That's what I got.
Next week we'll be back. Gridiron Grind, check us out. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts. We have a Twitter page, Instagram, YouTube. What do they say? Like, comment, subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
All that. We're going to be providing people with the content every week. Thanks for tuning in. Guess we're out of here. See you, Jimmy.
See you.